It was the year 170 AD, a time when the Roman Empire was facing immense pressure from all directions. Rome, which once stood as the greatest power in the known world, now found itself besieged both internally and externally. To the north, barbarian tribes, united by their shared desire to bring down the mighty empire, were invading with increasing force. Meanwhile, rebellion simmered within Rome's borders, threatening to break out into full-scale civil unrest. At the helm of this turbulent empire was Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, a man who, though burdened with the colossal weight of leadership, sought to guide the empire not just with military might, but with wisdom. Unlike many rulers of his time, Marcus didn't rely solely on his generals or political strategies. Instead, he turned inward, to the Stoic philosophy that had shaped his view of the world and his approach to life. One bitterly cold morning, deep in the forests of Germania, Marcus Aurelius sat in a makeshift military camp. Far from the grandeur of the Roman Senate and the comforts of his palace, he found himself surrounded by uncertainty. His tent, though simple, was filled with his closest advisors and generals, men who had served him for years and fought many battles by his side. The wind howled outside, carrying with it the weight of impending crisis. The news that had just arrived was grim. An uprising had begun in the eastern provinces, an area critical to Rome's economic and military stability. This wasn't just any rebellion. If not swiftly addressed, it could spread, potentially crippling the already strained empire. His generals were restless, their eyes darting between one another, waiting for orders. They were hardened men, accustomed to the brutality of war, but even they could sense the gravity of this moment. One of his most trusted advisors, an older general who had been with Marcus since the early days of his reign, stepped forward. His voice was grave, laden with concern. "This rebellion, my emperor, it could spread quickly. The eastern provinces are vital. If we lose control there, it could embolden other factions to rise against us. We must act now, strike swiftly and with force." The younger officers murmured in agreement. Among them, one particularly eager commander couldn't hold back. "Perhaps we should abandon the northern campaign and focus our efforts on the rebellion," he suggested, his voice quivering slightly. "We could send reinforcements immediately." The weight of their collective anxiety hung in the air, but Marcus Aurelius remained seated, calm, his expression unreadable. His silence unnerved them. They were expecting immediate action, a plan, a strategy, something decisive. After all, wasn't that what emperors did in times of crisis? But Marcus, a man deeply influenced by Stoicism, did not believe in reacting impulsively to external events. He had faced crises before, many of them far worse than this, and he understood that the way one responded to adversity was often more important than the adversity itself. For Marcus, the true battle was not with the rebellion in the east or the barbarians at the borders. It was within his own mind. After a long pause, Marcus finally stood and moved toward the entrance of the tent. He looked out into the distance, his breath visible in the frigid air. He wasn't ignoring the crisis or downplaying its significance, but he knew that no decision, no matter how critical, should be made in haste or fear. He had learned through years of personal reflection that clear thinking, calm under pressure, and deliberate action were the keys to wise leadership. Turning back to his advisors, Marcus spoke, his voice steady and deliberate. "Tell me," he began, "can we control the rebellion in the east by force of will alone? Can we prevent the barbarians from attacking simply by wishing it so?" The younger commander, still flustered, stammered, "No, my emperor, we cannot." "Exactly," Marcus replied. "We cannot control the actions of others. We cannot control the external events that surround us, the rebellion, the war, the chaos. But there is one thing we can control, one thing that is entirely within our power, our minds." His words hung in the air, and the officers fell silent, unsure of what to make of them. Marcus continued, "It is not the events themselves that trouble us, but how we perceive them. The Stoics teach us that we have power over our minds, not over the world around us. And it is in mastering our own thoughts that we find strength." He let the silence settle before continuing, his voice calm but firm. "If we act out of fear, If we allow panic to dictate our decisions, we will surely falter. But if we remain calm, if we think clearly, we can address this rebellion with wisdom, not haste. The older general, who had seen many battles and crises in his time, nodded slowly. He understood now. Marcus wasn't avoiding action. He was ensuring that their actions would be driven by reason, not fear. "So, what will we do, my emperor?" the younger commander asked, still eager for concrete orders. Marcus smiled faintly. "We will not abandon the northern campaign. We will send reinforcements to the east, but we will do so calmly, with a clear plan. There is no need for panic. The rebellion will be dealt with, but not at the cost of our composure. Remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That evening, as the camp quieted and the soldiers prepared for another day of battle, Marcus Aurelius sat by a small fire. The flames flickered as he wrote in his leather-bound journal, a book he carried with him wherever he went. He reflected on the day's events, on the tension he had felt in the air, and on the calm he had maintained amidst it all. He wrote, "The mind adapts and transforms to the circumstances it faces. What lies within our power is our ability to remain calm, to think clearly, and to choose how we respond to the world around us. It is not the events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." In time, the rebellion was quelled, not through sheer force, but through thoughtful planning and strategic decisions. But for Marcus Aurelius, the real victory was not on the battlefield. It was within himself, within his ability to master his mind in the face of chaos.